Welcome back in, man. Welcome back to JCPod, presented by Stare Down Sports. Stare Down greatness. And man, people, what a weekend. Football. NFL. Okay, it wasn't the best weekends. College football. Banger alert. We had some amazing games in the college football world. We need to talk about that because the national championship is set, people. Ohio State, Notre Dame. Woo! As a Notre Dame fan myself, really pumped up about that. Let's go. We got some NFL action to talk about as well. Got some teams that are eliminated from the playoffs. Got some teams that are moving on to round two. AFC looks the same as last year. NFC got a new team or two in the dance. Can't wait to talk about that. And then we'll go over a little bit of NFL news today. That probably will end up doing it today. We'll go over a little bit of college news if there's anything big there. And then we'll go over some NFL news we've been missing. Talk about these games. Get prep for tomorrow because tomorrow, man, giving out divisional round plays. And then we're also giving out the national championship plays. I mean, I can't believe it, dude. Monday, national championship. Wow. Wow. What is time? So without any further ado, we should probably just hop right in and go over some college football was first, but we usually save that for the end. Sorry, I was reading about something about Tommy Reese. He just got promoted for the Browns. Shout out to him. We'll go NFL. College we'll save. It's only 2 games. We'll save that for the end. First, we'll go over some NFL, like said. So, man. How my people doing? Wildcard action. First game we had was on Saturday. Texans, Chargers. Texans, 32-12. Yep, that's right. 32-12. Absolute ass beating by the Texans. It was just one of those things where, I mean, we got 10-6 going into half. Under looking like it's going to be okay. Sitting there like, all right, the Chargers are just right there. And they need to finish some drives, Just need to play a little bit better. That game ended in a hurry. Herbert finished with 14-32, 242 passing, 1 touchdown. Which was to Ladd McConkey for 86 yards. 4 interceptions. 4 of them things. I mean, CJ Stroud, 22 for 33, 282, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I mean, Chargers. Maybe today's episode is the title. They are who we thought they were. That might be worked into the title because the Chargers. You look at it like, oh, they're gonna be great, or that, and then you look back in the history of the Chargers. It's like, man, they are who we thought they were. They get into the playoffs. Don't have the best of games. They lose 32-12. And the biggest thing that's coming out of this game now is shout out to the Texans first off. Good win by them. I didn't think they were going to win this game, so good round by them. They earned the honor of losing to the Chiefs, most likely, based on how every other year the playoffs is going when you play the Chiefs. But for the Chargers, man, a lot of the biggest things I've been seeing now is, man, is Justin Herbert that guy? Might need to reevaluate this Justin Herbert guy. Can Justin Herbert play football? That's a lot of what I've seen, which, hey, when you play a game like that, oh boy, we got another guy who we're going to be talking about. They are who we thought they were. Got another guy who to talk about that who, man, they had a tough game as well. But overall, just looking at the Chargers, I mean, good season, finished 11-6, first year under Harbaugh. Definitely have something to build towards. Definitely need more than one wide receiver. That would help out a lot. Quentin Johnson, I mean, my biggest thing is I just felt like every time I saw Herbert targeting the balls on the ground. Was it dropped? Yes. Was it a horrible throw? Yes. Was it just a missed throw by an edge DB? Knocked it down? Yes. I just felt like every time the ball was in Quentin Johnson's way, they just went on the ground. Ladd McConkey is basically all they had, it felt like. I mean, 9 for 14, 197 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. J.K. Dobbins not able to do much on the ground at all. I mean, honestly, the offensive line got pushed around a little bit. And then on the other side, the Texans' offensive line did the pushing around. 25 carries, 106 rushing yards, 1 touchdown for Joe Mixon. Basically what we said on the show, Joe Mixon is going to have to help the Texans win this game, and that he did. He dominated on the ground. CJ Stroud looked good in the air. Nico Collins, 7 for 122 and a touchdown. Overall, man, shout out to Ladd McConkey, who sets the rookie record for most receiving yards in the playoff game as a rookie. Just sucks that it came in a 32-12 loss where he scored the only touchdown. And now looking for the Chargers, the whole season came down to that game. They kind of played pretty shitty. Now it's going into the offseason like, where do we go from here? How do they build up? Like I said, I think they need a wide receiver. Probably wouldn't help to add in another running back to the room. Gus Edwards did decent. J.K. Dobbins wasn't horrible, but They might be missing a guy. I don't know. J.K. Dobbins had his moments till he got hurt. I don't know. I mean, it's just obviously we expected them to not be. I mean, I don't think a lot of people expect them to go 11-6 this year. So that part's a win. Just sucks. 32-12 loss. You hate to see it. Next game on Saturday, we got Steelers, Ravens. Steelers, Ravens. Ravens win 28-14. This was a 21-0 game before the Steelers were able to get 2 touchdowns. But I mean, Rashad Bateman scores right away for the Ravens, and then you get 2 Derrick Henry touchdown, followed by a Justice Hill touchdown with 11 seconds to go. They go up 21-0 at half. Felt like this game was over there. And then after that, you get a touchdown pass from Van Jefferson. Derrick Henry gets another rushing touchdown. Then George Pickens gets a touchdown for 36 yards very, very, very late in the game to make it 28-14. This game was basically over at half. Like I said, it was 21-0 at half, and it felt like you're watching this game, you're sitting there just like, man, Steelers just don't stand a chance, dude. Quarterback play, not too good. Defensively, not the best either. Kirk Herbstreit was calling them out. Like, hey, where's the Steelers team's effort? Like, this team doesn't seem like they have the effort that we've seen them in previous weeks. And he made that, he reiterated that multiple times. So it's like, okay, these boys really ain't showing effort out here. And it kind of didn't look like it. I mean, there's a few plays where guys just running away. Derrick Henry, 26 carries, 186 yards for 2 touchdowns. Averaged 7.2 a carry. Almost a walking first down. I mean, he balled out. Lamar Jackson, 16 for 21, 175 and 2. I mean, he didn't have to throw the ball at all too much because, like I said, Derrick Henry is just toting that thing, running all over the Steelers. Man, this is another bad loss for the Steelers. I don't know what they go from here. I doubt Tomlin's going to be gone. They talked about how they need a fresh start a little bit, or there's going to be a new look. I mean, both quarterbacks are going in the free agency. I don't know. It's one of those weird situations where, like, Tomlin, you can't get. I mean, he had the winning record. They had a great season, but another season if they go in the playoffs and kind of flame out. This year was another first-round flame out. I really can't blame them too much. They played the Ravens. If they played the Texans, maybe they stand a chance. But I don't know. The team just didn't seem like they wanted to be there damn near. And it's just, they've been a train wreck. That's the best way to put it. Steelers been a train wreck. And it's not like a bad train wreck. Like, it's one of those ones where it's like, man, this train's working good. And then you're testing it. It's like, man, we get this train 99% complete. Right when we need it to get to the point where it starts slowing down. Just rolls off the track and crashes. That's just basically been the Steelers the whole time where they start, great push. 3 games in 11 days is when you slowly start to just see the downturn, and they just went down ever since. Tough loss, man. I mean, like I said, we talked about it on the show. We expected the Ravens to win on the show, but even in a win, you can look back and be like, man, what a tough loss. I mean, that's a heartbreaking loss for the Steelers. Now, who had a dominant series against the Ravens, and you go out there and you're like, maybe we might just be able to do something. Steelers just aren't really able to. You just look back now. I mean, season series, tight first game, tight second game, and the second you realize the Steelers weren't keeping it tight, it's like, oh, these boys in trouble. Now, like I said, quarterback situation. Do these guys go? We'll probably save that. We'll save that for the final big thoughts on the whole Wildcard Weekend. So moving on. Bills 31, Broncos 7. Broncos went up 7-0 right away, and I won't lie. They scored in that first drive off a bomb, and I was sitting there. I finished in a few texts out like, we might have a game on our hands. Holy shit, these boys might have came to play. Turns out maybe that was just the busted coverage. 31-7. The Bills just absolutely drummed them ever since that. Game wasn't close. I mean, after that touchdown, it just felt like the Bills were, I don't want to say dominating, but it just felt like they were winning the game. Like, every time there's something that needed to be done, like, oh, we need the Bills, can I get first down? Oh, they got it. Hey, it's 3rd and 7. Can we get the Broncos off the field? Incomplete pass, Broncos are off the field. James Cook, 23 carries, 120 yards, and a touchdown. He's been great all season. I mean, he single-handedly won me a fantasy championship. Just shout out to that boy. I mean, not single-handedly, but he was a big, big core piece to that championship. Josh Allen, I'm about to say Josh Jacobs. Josh Allen, 20 for 26, 272, 2 touchdowns. Bo Nix, 13 of 22 for 144. I mean, biggest thing in this game was time of possession. I mean, like I said, the Bills, if they need to stay on the field, they got the first down. They kept the chains moving. If they need to get the Broncos off the field, 3 and out, they're off the field. Oh, they got a first down. Guess what? Next 3 plays, off the field. I mean, time of possession. It's the big. I'll just show you this chart off my phone. It's kind of, I mean, just look at the numbers, man. You can see it. You can truly see like the yellow, all the yellows, the Bills. They were basically first downs. Bills had 26 to the Broncos 13. Third down efficiency, 8 for 15 for the Bills. Broncos 2 of 9. Fourth down, 2 of 2 for the Bills. Broncos 1 of 3. We don't need to get into the total yardages and everything, but sacks 2 of 2. That's pretty tight. Interceptions, nothing there, and then punts, 1 punt to 4, whatever. But this is the big one. Time of possession. Excuse me, by the way. 41-43 for the Bills. 18-17 for the Broncos. I mean, that's just not going to get the job done. That's some Colts time of possession if I've ever seen it. Yeah, no. There's the biggest issue is that Broncos just, man, they looked great that first play, and then right after that it got a little bit rough. Trade deadline February 6th. Sorry, that was the NBA thing I just got about Jimmy Butler. Man, I don't know. This is another one of those games where it's like there's a lot of people out there like, Broncos might stand a chance. Broncos might be able to do something. Broncos not having a run game obviously hurt them a lot, but Bills just felt like one of those games where it's like, man, Broncos, you just caught the Bills on the wrong, like, not only did you catch them on the wrong day, it might have been just the wrong year. It feels like the Bills might be truly building towards something special. I mean, if they can play like this almost every game, they're going to be a hard out. I mean, their defense balled out. They're getting guys. I mean, Ty Johnson gets in there. Hopefully Ray Davis is okay. He got creamed on a hit. There was even the defender was like, yeah, that's my bad, man. I mean, it's straight head-to-head. He was clearly knocked out right away, so hopefully Ray Davis will be okay. But yeah, Bills win 31-7. Absolute ass-beating of the Broncos to close out Saturday. Or, sorry, not to close out Saturday. That's the kickoff Sunday. Next game on our slate. We went from, I'm not going to say boring, but a little bit boring to kind of boring to the Sunday night game was, this is a banger alert. But, like I said, before we get to the banger alert, we got the 22-10 victory for the Eagles. Packers go down 10-0 right away. Basically, in all their games this year, I think it was like they went down 17-0, 10-0, 17-0, 20-0. Like 1-6, 0-6 or 1-6 against the Lions, Eagles, Vikings, I believe was the 3 teams. So basically, all 3 teams that you needed to beat to get anywhere, they just weren't able to. Not only were they not able to beat them, I mean, they go down right away. And in this game, they went down right away. Then they lose. Romeo Doubs lose. Already had Christian Watson gone. Lose a third wide receiver. I can't remember who. Can't remember the third dude who got hurt was. It was Romeo Doubs. Man, I don't think it was Jaden Reed. Oh, it was Jaden Reed. Oh, Jaden Reed ends up dislocating his shoulder, and he was one few guy making plays for them. Josh Jacobs, 18 for 81 on the ground. But this was just a bad game for Jordan Love. He had 3 interceptions. Because the Eagles didn't do anything too special. I mean, you look at stats, Saquon, 25 for 119. Should have had a breakaway touchdown. I mean, he was the real star of the game for the Eagles. Just absolutely insane on the ground. Jalen Hurts, 13 for 21, 131, 2 passing touchdowns. I mean, this was the Eagles' formula. Jalen Hurts just has these 150, 170, 180-yard passing games. They're very ugly games for whatever reason where it's like, oh, my God, are they even winning the game if you didn't know what the scoreboard looked like? Then you look back at the scoreboard, it's like, they're up 22-10? What? Like, I don't know. I don't want to say ugly football, but a little bit of ugly football. They just find a way to get points, finds a way to score. I don't know. They're one of those offenses, too, where it seems like they just don't have a pace. I think that's I was listening to somebody, they were kind of talking about the pace of this team. I kind of felt that myself, too, and I was wondering if I'm glad that I'm not alone in that kind of thinking. I'm sitting there, it's like, man, this team is just like, they get in the huddle and everything. Guys get subbed in, then they go line to hut, run the play. All right, whatever. It's like, all right, huddle up, let's take it. There's really no pace for them. I mean, and they're a team, though, like, you get the 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, they're going to get it, 4th and 2, probably getting it. Get to that 4th and 3, 3rd and 3, might have some questions. Good chance they're just going to push it twice. But it's just one of those teams where they're just weird, man. It's just a weird feel for the Eagles. I don't want to say it's like almost Chiefs-esque because they need to, Chiefs for sure able to earn that title. But it's very, very similar where it's just like, you look down, you're like, how in the hell is this team winning? Like, Saquon's rushing on the ground where he's being awesome. A.J. Brown has like 30 receiving yards. Jalen Hurts throwing it 30 times for 150 yards. You're just like, how is this team up 20 right now? And you just can't fathom it, but stats say they should be down or it should be a close game, yet they're up so big. That's just been Eagles football this year, man. It's been the Eagles themselves. Sorry, I just keep dropping all this. We're going to just move this shit. Sorry about that if you hear those in the background. But no, like the Eagles, it's been one of those things they've done, especially the last few weeks, where it's just like, hey, they just find ways to win games. Doesn't matter how you win, they just keep winning, which, especially in the playoffs, you can't complain about it too much. But man, going to be interesting moving forward. See if the Eagles team play like that against, the Lions or something. Will they be able to keep it rolling? Good question, but 22-10 victory over the Packers. Like I said, biggest thing I take away from the Packers is they just need another year to build. They had a great defensive effort, but when your quarterback has 3 turnovers and Jordan Love just doesn't play the best, it's kind of hard to overcome that. But like I said, yet again, shout out the Eagles. They had a really solid win, and now they move on. Commanders. Bucks. Commanders win 23-20. This was a back-and-forth game. Mike Evans felt like he could do whatever he wanted. I mean, Baker was only 15 for 18 for 185. Mike Evans 7 for 7 for 92. Terry McLaurin 7 targets for 7 receptions with Mike Evans. McLaurin was 7 receptions on 10 targets for 89 yards and a touchdown as well. Jaden Daniels 24 for 35, 268 and 2 touchdowns. This was just a weird game. This is just a weird game in general. Like, you look at the stats and you're like, oh, the Commanders should have blown them out. But every time, there was a 4th down that they didn't get. I mean, the Bucs just were able to get timely stops. Bucs were able to get timely. First win in nearly 7,000 days as well for the Commanders. Holy hell, that's a long time. But this was one of those games where it felt like, punch, counter punch, punch, counter punch. Where, the Commanders did something awesome. Oh, now the Bucs did something awesome. Oh, Commanders got shut down. They had to punt it away. Bucs able to get a field goal. Oh, Commanders now get a field goal. Now the Bucs have to punt it away. It really felt like a lot of back and forth. The biggest miss was probably a missed field goal. Zane Gonzalez, he goes 3 for 3, hits one from 50 yards out, which was huge for him. Even doinks one in for the win. For the Bucs, though, McLaughlin, I thought he missed a field goal. Was this not? Oh. I guess it's truly just, straight up back and forth game. I thought this was a game where they missed a field goal and that 3 points ended up costing them. Guess it wasn't. I'll admit, I am struggling a little bit to remember the second half of this game. I haven't watched it back since the win, so I haven't got a chance. I didn't watch it back basically yesterday, so I haven't got a chance to look back fully at it, which I'll probably be doing that tomorrow or Thursday. But yeah, great win for the Commanders. I mean, this is one of those games where, especially for me, I'll admit, I didn't mind if either one of these teams won. It just sucked that it's like, man, I like both these teams. I'm not going to be able to root for one of them after this. But great win for the Commanders. Like I said, first win nearly 7,000 days. Jaden Daniels looks awesome. Bucs look okay. I think a lot of people are now complaining, like, all right, we need to get Todd Bowles the hell up out of here. That's one of the biggest things I've seen is like, all right, Todd Bowles, nice knowing you. Get going. Which is going to be interesting. I mean, we got to remember, all this is following Brady. Brady won them a Super Bowl, and now we get Baker. I mean, they've been not been a bad run for them. It's just, I'm trying to think I don't know what you upgrade. That's where I think I might agree and be like, maybe you do upgrade coach or defense, which is head coach. Just because, like, Baker, you got an amazing year out of Baker. Pretty solid year out of the defense. Offense was pretty good. You're going to have some young stars. Maybe not stars, but you're going to have some really, really good young players in Bucky Irving and Jalen McMillan. So it's like, personally for me, it's like, man, maybe they do need to upgrade the coach. It's not like and that's looking like, all right, we have to upgrade something. What are we upgrading? There's a good chance Todd Bowles probably stays. I mean, this team looks good, and it's had moments where it looks great. It's just there's always those weird... Just like any other team, they have those weird games where it's just like, man, how'd you lose that one? But not this game. Like I said, this was really awesome back and forth. It just sucks that somebody had to lose it. Jaden Daniels leads the 7,000 days. I just can't get over that. Jaden Daniels leads Commanders the first playoff win in nearly 7,000 days. I just can't stop reading that headline. That's insane. So yeah, basically, big ol'. So Dan Snyder was clearly an issue too. That's another thing because they sucked. Cleaned house, got all this team in, and they are looking great. Costly turnover. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. Oh, that's what it was. That's why I couldn't remember. Baker, there was issues with the snap. I was trying to remember. I'm like, man, when I said it wasn't field goal, I'm like, there's a reason that the Commanders just basically got the ball and were able to get a touchdown. There's some snap issues. Baker ends up dropping the ball in the red zone. Commanders basically got the ball right there. So that was one of the moments I was forgetting. But yeah, overall, great win for the Commanders. They move on. And I'm not going to lie. We'll talk about that in a minute because that leads into this game. When it comes to them and the Lions, I have a note where it's like, I'm not going to say I'm going to bet Commanders to win, but that +9 is tempting. Last game, Rams 27, Vikings 9. They are who we thought they were. They beat the Vikings. Sam Darnold, second biggest game, if not biggest game of his life, following last week. Pumpkins a little bit. 9 sacks, I think, was the number that Rams got. Absolutely ridiculous. 9 sacks. 9 sacks for 82 yards. I mean, that's basically every sack was like massive sack. Like you said, 9 for 82. I mean, like I said, that's almost 10 yards a sack. Obviously, the math doesn't check out. There's 8 yards there. So basically, I mean, seriously, and it was like, so you're going from like 2nd and 3 to now all of a sudden it's boom, 3rd and 10. That's a completely different play call. Oh, it's 1st and 10, boom, sack, 2nd and 19. Like they were just sitting behind the ball so many times, and overall, I mean, because Matt Stafford just did. If you remember the October game, very similar to that, where Matt Stafford was just slicing and dicing, looked really good. For at least for the Rams part. I mean, he only threw for 209. He had 2 touchdowns. I almost took his under passing. Really glad I held off that. I mean, it would have hit, but would have been a bit stressful if they would have had to play a full game. That's another thing, too. The Rams kind of got taken out of the script pretty early because they were up so damn big that's like, all right, we can kind of play with the lead now script, which they ended up doing. I just truly, 7,000 days for the Commanders. I'm just kidding. We don't have to keep bringing that up. But, no, defensive touchdown called back for the Vikings. Where I'll admit that was my biggest complaint I think from the game. I hope they change this rule. How's that considered a pass? Like that's almost like a pitch, is what Matt Stafford did. Matt Stafford, for those of you who didn't see, is basically getting stacked. I thought I did have. I do. Hold on. I had a football on me. I just wanted to do that. So basically, like Matt Stafford's getting sacked. He's holding the ball like this. So this is where I hope they eventually change the rule for intentional grounding and all that. For most sides, you see after they get a sack, they go, oh, let it go, throw it away, throw it that way. Matt Stafford literally hits him with basically flips it. Like he's going down, he's like, and like he basically flips it, and it's not like I flipped it in the air. Matt Stafford basically threw that hole on the ground. Flipped that ball on the ground, it kind of rolled a little bit. They end up picking it up, the Vikings do, running it in for a touchdown. After further review, the ruling is an incomplete pass, and there was a guy in the area, so there was no intentional grounding. First off, they need to change the intentional grounding rule. I mean, Matt Stafford literally threw that ball like that because he's getting sacked. And, I mean, that's one of those situations where that should be a sack. I mean, the guy's literally wrapped up, and he flips the ball like that, and it's not a good play. Not a good play, in my opinion. They end up keeping the ball. So that's a huge momentum play where it's like, man, I feel like some air kind of got sucked out of their soul. Because, I mean, for the Packers, shit, I didn't even bring this up during the Packers game. The Packers fumbled on the first kickoff. And that was one of those things where you're like, damn, that's probably going to set the tone. Because, yeah, like that fumble on the first kickoff, the guy clearly had the ball. There's another one of those weird rules where they look above, the guy clearly has it. But then the swarm of the happens, everything, the ball ends up anywhere at this point, and then somebody else gets it. But you look at the overhead view, and the guy in the Packers had it. So it's really weird they didn't do that. Another situation here where it's very clear. I mean, I guess you can consider that a judgment call. But overall, man, I was not a fan of the Matt Stafford flip away. I mean, even if I bet on the Rams, I don't think I would have been happy about that call because obviously I wouldn't have been happy about losing money. But that call itself, as a football guy, it's like, especially I'm a defensive lineman, man. So to see shit like that, it's like, that's such horse shit, man. I guess my first reaction was, mind you, I have a good amount of money on the Vikings. So I mean, and literally my first reaction was, that's a sack, man. That's such horse shit. Didn't even react to the fumble. Didn't react to that. It's like, that should be a sack. And I guess that's the defensive lineman in me still won them sacks. But, wait a minute. Pause. No, but then later on, the Rams end up getting the defensive touchdown. I mean, that game just got ugly quick. And then, yeah, like I said, it ends up, 24-3 at half. You knew it was over. That's one of those ones where, you got Monday Night Raw you got Monday Night Raw, you got Monday Night Football. You're like, let me watch some Monday Night Football. I'll save Raw for the next day. And then you're sitting there, you're like, probably going to watch that Monday Night Raw. And that could go for anything. I mean, shit. You got some shit on YouTube. We're talking your favorite guys. Lego Star Wars on YouTube. You have a video you really want to watch of it. I don't know why that popped in my head, but that's what we're going with. Would have been a good night to watch Lego Star Wars on YouTube because man, those Vikings did not show up. Like I said, the sacks, a lot. I thought a good amount of them were Sam Darnold's fault. Rams just looked amazing. Felt like they really, truly rallied after all the fires and everything. Now it's going to be interesting to see. Now they travel back to it. I don't know if they practiced or anything because of the air quality and all that. And then they got to fly out to Philadelphia, I believe. So, yeah. Shout out to the Rams. That was an awesome win for them. Awesome win for the city after everything is going on. Man, for the Vikings, that's a tough one. 14-3. Oh, damn, I thought it was getting a little sweaty. 14-3, you lose. After having 14 wins in the season, you not only do you not get the 1 seed, you got to play on Wildcard Weekend, and now you lose on Wildcard Weekend. So you went 14-3 just to be like, all right, we'll see y'all next season, which is pretty tough. And now for Sam Darnold, he for sure lost himself some money. I'm not going to say. He'll probably still get a good deal. I would assume like a 3-year, $100-something million deal, 30, 40 a year. But those last 2 games, biggest games, and he looked that bad. There's a lot of teams that need an NFL quarterback, so he's definitely going to get paid for somebody. It's just he went from that $200 million plus quarterbacks. Now it's probably in the Daniel Jones area. What do you get, like a 4 from 175, something like that? I can't remember, but it's definitely like in the. All right, Sam, you're probably like 100-something million dollar quarterback, get a 3-year deal instead of the 4-year $200 million for. And now did the Vikings go with JJ McCarthy? Gonna be interesting. But yeah, that basically rounds it out for not Super anymore. Wildcard Weekend. So before we get into some NFL news, quickly ahead, Texans play Chiefs Saturday, Commanders play Lions. 8 and 10 point spreads there, and then you got Rams Eagles on Sunday. That's a 6-point spread game, and then you got Rams Eagles, yep, and then you got Bills Ravens 1-point spread on Sunday, 6:30. Damn, that game's gonna be over early. Man, of course, the one Monday I don't have to wake up dumb at the butt crack early. It's a 6:30 game. I really wonder, is there something going on Sunday that I'm not? I don't know, but yeah. So we got that basically to look forward to next week, which is Saturday, January 18th, January 19th. Then you got the AFC Championship, NFC Championship, Sunday, January 26th, and then, man, Super Bowl February 9th. It's crazy to think that we're truly around this time of year already. Before we get, like I said, we're about to go to NFL news, but, man, it doesn't feel real. It truly does not feel real that we've had a whole NFL season again together. This is our, second or third year together now? Feels crazy. This shit has truly flown by. And it's crazy to think that, wow, we're already into the offseason. We're already going to be focusing on college. It's unbelievable. I just hit it with myself today. I need to hit up Rowan, and we need to start getting him back on for March Madness and everything, because crazy. The madness is already about here. It's might as well be March already. We got National Championship, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 more NFL games left. 9 NFL games left in the season. Man. Crazy. Let's see. So how many games there? There's not 5. So there's 32. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So I was trying to do the math. I think there's 100. I forget what the math is. It's how many games. Is it 272? Because it'd be man, there's all these regular season games, all that, and we're down to 9. You can count them on one hand. That's how many games we have left. Wow. Well, like I said, before we get into college football and all that, to end out the show, we're going to quickly go over some NFL news. So, coaching carousel. We'll look at that real quick. And just some of the names that are getting thrown out and what's looking around. Head coach openings. You got the Chicago Bears, who fired Matt Eberflus. Dallas Cowboys mutually agreed to leave with Mike McCarthy. I don't know how mutual that was. Doug Peterson and Jacksonville Jaguars is out. Las Vegas Raiders, they fired Antonio Pierce. New Orleans Saints got rid of Dennis Allen. New York Jets got rid of Robert Saleh. New England Patriots, they got rid of Gerard Mayo. But they're the first team with the head coach as they signed Mike Vrabel. Amazing hire. If you've watched any of Rowan's show, you watch any of my show, Rowan's show, Captain by a Hook on YouTube as well. We've multiple times. How's Vrabel not hired? How's this guy not Vrabel? How's this team not have Vrabel? If Colts didn't have Shane Steichen, and hell, even now at this point, I would have loved to have Vrabel. But he's gone now. He's in New England. The Jets, Titans, and Raiders all have GM openings. And then there's a lot of some guys who've been getting interviews for head coach. We got names like Ben Johnson, Pete Carroll, Mike McCarthy, Matt Campbell. It was an Iowa State head coach. Todd Monken, Aaron Glenn, Drew Petzing, who's the Cardinals OC, Brian Flores, Anthony Weaver, Mike Kafka, David Shaw, Mike Vrabel, Joe Brady, Cliff Kingsbury, Ron Rivera, Marcus Freeman, Thomas Brown, Adam Stenovich. These are all just names being rumored out there who at least have been interviewed or been requested to be interviewed. And that's all from the Bears, man. The Bears are interviewing everybody. So that's why I wanted to throw their name. I wanted to talk about them and the Jets. Because the Jets have basically interviewed everybody. Oh, Jesus. Joe Witt Jr., Mike Locksley, Steve Spagnuolo, Darren Rizzi, Aaron Glenn, Josh McCown, Brian Greasy, Matt Nagy, Vance Joseph, Joe Brady, Arthur Smith, Brian Flores, Bobby Slovic, Jeff Ulbrich, Rex Ryan, Ron Rivera, Mike. Well, he doesn't matter anymore. But all those names, those are all names that are basically getting circulated now at this point. So don't be shocked if you hear those names again. They will probably be popping up a lot more often in this coaching search. And like I said, there's a few teams looking at GMs, but not the Indianapolis Colts, man. Browns promote Reese to offensive coordinator. Tommy Reese, their offensive coordinator. We talked about this a little bit ago. He replaces Ken Dorsey, who was fired after one season. Who I think Ken Dorsey now, it's either 2 or 3 teams in a row he's been fired after or has been fired from now, 3 years in a row. So tough for him to find a little bit of a landing spot. Rams amazing. By the way, shout out to them. They're amazing pass rush. That was unbelievable last night. Bears are interviewing Mike McCarthy. The Saints are also interviewing. I'm assuming that's, if I had to guess, Mike McCarthy probably. Saints or Green Bay not Green Bay. Chicago. Those seem like 2 fits. I could see him say that. Bo Nix says he's played through back fractures. Yeah, I got twisted up a little bit. Had 3 process fractures. A lot of guys play with a lot of those kind of things. Hey. As a guy who, shout out to him, man. I guess, I don't know how serious that obviously was, but shout out to him being able to play through that, because there's guys who can't play through injuries, or some guys who aren't mentally tough enough to get through that. So, love the football guys who are able to do that. Best way to put it. Steelers don't, Pat Freiermuth came out and said Steelers don't make the playoffs without Mike Tomlin, which I do agree. I think Mike Tomlin is a truly great coach. It's just, I can't blame people for being like, all right, can we win a playoff game, please? But you know what the saying? Sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. The grass is not always green on the other side. All those sayings. All these people wanting Mike Tomlin out and everything. I don't think. If the Steelers are able to get somebody good, then I won't say anything. But they get. Just see what happens with the Colts, for example. Ever since Andrew Luck, and can't keep a head coach around, can't keep a quarterback around. I don't wish that upon anyone, because when you got a great quarterback or you got a great coach, you want to keep them, because they are really, really, really hard to. Really, really hard to find. Jacoby Dean is going to miss the rest of the playoffs for the Eagles. Or Nakobe Dean. I butchered that shit. He has a torn patellar tendon in his knee. He's going to miss the rest of the playoff. Super, super sad, man. He could miss the start of 2025, obviously, with this injury, and it really, really sucks. He was playing pretty good. I felt like I heard his name a lot, especially in that game Sunday, or Saturday, whenever they played. So hopefully he can have a speedy recovery. That just sucks for him, man, honestly. Commanders beat Bucks. We talked about that. I don't think we need to make a big deal about A.J. Brown reading on the sideline. That Romeo Doubs hit was really scary, honestly. He hit the back of his head and for sure got concussed again. So it just sucks for him. Hopefully he'll be okay, because, these guys who get multiple concussions in a row, it's just truly, truly sad to see, because each one gets scarier and scarier, man. Because especially, we saw with Tua, man. That shit got really, really scary. We saw it with Chris Olave, too. These guys take hits. Nothing's worse than, obviously, you see a guy laying there injured, and it's at least, he's grabbing something, you're like, oh, man, poor guy, that really, really sucked. It's really, really scary, man, when you get those knockout hits, and those guys are just, genuinely, that's, I get, almost shivers watching it every time. It's just oh, man. Especially because, you don't know what's happening to their brain and everything. It could be a thing where they get hit like that, and they won't notice it for another 50 years until it does something. It's just it's always scary, man. So hopefully he'll be okay, because that was scary, man. Shit, it happened to Ray Davis, too, even. Ray Davis took a helmet-to-helmet hit, and literally, he did that, where he did basically what I did, where he's just laying on the ground like this and not moving. And it's just oh, shit, man. He got knocked out cold. It's just scary, man. That concussion shit's scary. Khalil Mack considering retirement after playoff loss. I hope he at least gets a lot of different thoughts in my head. I can't really speak on a definite decision in terms of what I'm going to do, because I don't know what I'm going to because I don't know if I'm going to play football moving forward. So there's some things I got to talk through with my wife, spend some time with my kids, and try not to make a rash decision after the loss. It's crazy because I won't lie. I still remember this guy coming out of college in Buffalo playing for the Raiders. And now I think that he's like thinking about retiring and everything. It's like, man, what a wild career that it's been for him. I truly think that he won't retire. I'm assuming he'll want to go out at least on the playoff or 2 win, especially with Harbaugh around. I think Harbaugh might be able to convince him and be like, hey, can we get another year or two, please, man? Come on, one more year, man. But that might do it for NFL news. I think I've caught basically everything. We talk about Vrabel as the next head coach. Amazing hire. Amazing hire. Falcons fired Jimmy Lake, who was their DC. We talked about that. Watching him. Oh yeah, I don't know if I talked about this or not. Watching his significant time after he tore his Achilles again. He's getting a second surgery. So this basically just feels like one of those moves where it's like worst decision in probably their franchise's history, but might be the worst contract decision in NFL history because, I mean, his recovery time and return to status play is uncertain. He'll likely miss significant time during the 2025 season, which basically means like he'll probably be back by what, like November, December, cold in Cleveland. Like, I just don't know how he plays. I mean, he's been bad. He hasn't been playing good. He got his guaranteed money. At this point, I just don't. If he can find a way to play again, props to him, man. I just don't know how he plays again at this point. I mean, it not only has been bad, now he's dealing with the injuries. I don't know, man. It's just every year, it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. Now it's just like, man, poor guy. Like, injury-wise, like, what he did, not cool at all. But injury-wise, it's like, man, that I do feel for the guy, especially because he, like, second Achilles surgery after he re-injured it again. Like, that part really, really sucks, man. So, it's a guy who's done through rehab. Rehab's not fun. Hopefully he'll be okay. Colts GM Richardson's biggest issue is staying healthy. We knew when we took him it was going to be a roller coaster. The number one thing we got to figure out and have to work through is he's got to stay healthy. Ballard said that's, to me, is the biggest question. Well, when the kid doesn't have a track record of being healthy, it's kind of hard to keep him healthy. You know what I mean? And nothing against Anthony Richardson. Like, this is nothing against Anthony Richardson, the kid, the person. There's a lot. I mean, the kid had a lot to deal with. Not only do I think he needs to figure out the injury issue, he also needs to get a little bit better throwing from the pocket, a little bit better at reading defenses, a little bit better at what he says to the media. Don't get me wrong. Love an honest quarterback, love him being up, but you can't be coming out and saying, yeah, I've had some back injuries. There's probably been, I've had it since the 8th grade. It's probably chronic. Like, no, buddy. There's a way better way to word that. I'm not saying by any means I could do. I'm not putting myself in his shoes, but you just hear stuff like that. Like, as a fan, it's like, shit. Because I don't lie to you. The second I heard that as a fan, my instant reaction is, oh, so we're basically on to the next franchise quarterback within 2 to 3 years. So I'm already like, I hate to say it, but I'm already starting to get to that point where I'm like, man, maybe Anthony Richardson isn't our guy. And I don't want it to be like that. Anthony Richardson has some talent. He seems like a great kid. It's just, I don't know. Ballard, so I'm not a big fan of Ballard as well either, especially after the past moves he's made. So I'm pretty frustrated as a fan. So hearing him come out and say this is like, makes sense, but it's also your fault because you drafted this guy who's now seemingly super injury prone, yet refused to do anything serious about the backup. Like Joe Flacco was like, all right, cool. But, you know, he's 39 years old, and then he finally had a horrible, horrible year last year where it's like, all right, so maybe he reached the end of his full-game football life. But it's just, it's frustrating, man. I'm not going to lie. I wish, honestly, I do agree with this comment. Someone said Richardson's biggest issue, he should have stayed in college another year or two, learned what it means to be a quarterback in college. I agree. I feel like he came out way too early, which probably is better for him because he got the money and everything. Because who knows, if he stays 2 or 3 years, maybe he gets injured again, or not only injured, maybe he just plays horrible and he goes from a first-round pick potential to like 2, 3 millions of dollars gone. But yeah, frustrating, man. Super, super frustrating as a Colts fan because you just don't know. So it's just point, it's like, all right. And then, like I said, we're running it back next year. So it's like, all right. Let's see if we do any better than 8 and 9. Jags, Jets, and Browns are going to be the home teams for the 2025 London games. DeMarcus Robinson charged with DUI after arrest in November. He ended up playing on Monday night, so I don't think that really matters too much. Raiders to interview Pete Carroll. Interesting. Yeah, that's going to do it for the news. Really sad that we had to end it with... Oh, yeah, Carson Beck is actually entering the transfer portal. Probably going back to Miami instead of entering the NFL draft. And it's going to be interesting what happens with Quinn Ewers. Raiders fired GM Tom Telesco. But, yeah, like I said, Zay Flowers is questionable also, by the way, to... There are three more things before I get back to the Quinn Ewers point. Falcons GM opened to train Kirk Cousins. Makes sense, especially with the Michael Penix situation. Zay Flowers, they said he's questionable to play this week. Most likely, if he doesn't play this upcoming week, if they make it to next week, he should be good to go next week. His belief is what I understood. If not, he's for sure going to have status up in the air for this week for sure. And then Quinn Ewers. Very interesting what's going to happen with him because it's time to head to college football, man. I'll save the Notre Dame Penn State game for second because that's my favorite team. So I got a little bit more to talk about in that one than I do Ohio State and Texas. Ohio State, though, 28-14. This was a really, really close game throughout. Truly felt like that the longer this game lasted, like I truly was sitting there like, damn, Texas might actually genuinely be able to take this. Like, they're playing really good. It didn't feel like... And yet then Ohio State wins by 14. So all this happens, Ohio State wins by 14. So that's the one fear that I do have as a Notre Dame fan. But Quinton Judkins played pretty good. I mean, Draven Henderson had an amazing screen as well. I mean, that 75-yard screenplay, basically. I'm not going to say won the game, but gave him so much use. 9 for 36 on the ground. Damn, I thought he had a lot better rushing than that. I guess he just didn't have too many rushes. But yeah, Quinton Judkins, Travion Henderson had pretty decent games. Jeremiah Smith had 1 reception for 3 yards. They kind of boxed him out for the game, which makes sense. You don't want their best player going off. So the fact that they focused on him so much he didn't go off makes sense. But then you had guys like Carnell Tate, Emeka Ibuka. They went off as well. And then, so Texas just had a Ohio State had a very, very, very good game. Felt like the game plan was pretty solid. I mean, Carnell Tate, I think it's a career high, and actually, I don't know. This feels pretty low. 7 for 87. I don't know if that's a career high, but he probably is one of his better games of the season. He had 4 for 102 earlier in the season. But past that, this is his second best game of the season. Heavily involved. And like I said, for Quinn Ewers, man, I don't know. There's a few plays where you just like, it's almost comparable to Sam Darnold. There's a lot of points where Troy Aikman was like, man, feels like Sam Darnold could have stepped up in the pocket here. Man, feels like Sam Darnold could have done this. Feels like Sam Darnold probably should do this instead. He was taking sacks, taking hits, and all that. There was a few plays. I'm not going to say Quinn Ewers did that all game, but there's a few plays where you're sitting there like, for example, like the Jack Sawyer strip sack. You're sitting there and you're like, how do you not feel this guy just barreling in on you? But yeah, like, I haven't played quarterback personally, so I'm not going to sit here and just like point off the couch and be like, you suck, kid. But it was very interesting. There's stuff like that. There's a few plays where it's like, man, how do you not feel the pressure there? It's like, man, how do you miss that throw, man? That feels like a throw you should nail. So like I said, we talked about how Quinn Ewers might have been injured and everything. So I truly wonder if the injury was a part of the issue. Because, with an oblique issue, that's... As a guy who's dealt with a hernia injury that has nothing to do with the oblique, it's just part of the lower abdomen. I mean, everyday life, it's affecting me. I mean, I'm sitting in this chair right now in pain because of it. So I can only imagine with an oblique injury, you're sitting there, throw, hit, throw, move, run. Like, I can imagine, like, that wasn't fully healed still, so he's still dealing with it. And because of that, he's probably overcompensating, so he wasn't wanting to, like, instead of adding, the full torque to add that extra 2 or 3 miles per hour you need to zip it through the zone. Quinn Ewers is sitting there, it's like, maybe I'll throw a little bit of a floater ball because I don't want to put too much torque. I don't know. I don't know what the kid was dealing with, so it's just very interesting to know if that was a situation or not. But, I mean, this was a fun game, man. Like, it was a game. Ohio State ends up scoring 14 in the fourth. They end up pulling away. One of them being, like I said, that fumble 6. But truly felt like Texas had a chance to win this game. Can't be too mad at it at all. They made the college football playoffs now. Final Four team, 2 years in a row. And it feels like it's the Arch era now. My boy Rowan, he's been from the rooftops, put in Arch. Boy, been screaming for Arch. So, it's going to be interesting now because I guess officially the Arch Manning area, the Arch Manning area. Arch Manning era, not area, era. So it's going to be fun to watch them moving forward now with that. But overall, Texas, Isaiah Bond doesn't really get anything going. Matthew Golden ends up getting hurt, missing time. Offensively, their weapons just weren't, I'm not going to say weren't there. They just weren't fully effective. Jaden Blue and Quintrevian Weisner. I had to make sure I was scared I was going to mess up. Quintrevian Weisner. Those are basically their 2 best Two best players, I mean, outside that, Golden, 2 for 51. Helm, 2 for 42. Weisner, 6 for 40. Weisner was by far the best player on the field, but yeah, after that, they just didn't get much anything else for anybody else. But Ohio State, like I said, awesome win for them. It felt like they didn't play nearly their best game at all, and they won by 14. So that's going to be something very concerning as a Notre Dame fan moving forward. But, I mean, man, this is one of the things, like, if you don't absolutely hate Ohio State, like, which I'm to the point, I don't absolutely, there's very, very few teams now where I absolutely hate, because as a bettor, as much as I'd love to hate a team, you got to keep an open mind, just because, like, you just never want to, like, I don't want to, like, for example, you don't want to overlook the Rams. Like, last night in my article, if you check out Stand On Sports, I gave out, like, 4 different reasons where I'm like, man, I really want to take the Rams. I really want to take the Rams because of this, but we're going to stick Vikings. And then, sure enough, those 4 reasons, they were pretty something to be worried about. But that's one of those things where it's like, man, I'm really biased. Ohio State. Ohio State's won me, like, no money and forever. Every time I bet on them, they lose me money, it felt like. So I was just, man, I'm done with this team. F this team. And I did that first round. Damn near did it second round. And then now it's I kind of got back in the mindset where it's like, hey, reset your thinking a little bit. So that's just one of the things you got to do every once in a while is just keep that mindset where, hey, don't count on anybody. So don't count on anybody and don't like just, F that team, I don't want them to win. So not thinking like that. Pretty cool to see Ohio State win. I know they won a lot recently, but this feels like a nice little arc for Ryan Day, especially with all the stuff he's gone through. So look at the aspect. It's pretty cool. Would have been awesome to see Texas come back just for the Texas aspect of it. But you can't really complain with either of these two teams winning because it's like, man, these are 2 big draws. It's going to be a fun national championship because they would have played either the winner of Penn State or Notre Dame, depending on who would have won that game. But before they played, they would have known, but we didn't talk about it that way. So, yeah. At that point, Ohio State, Texas, they were sitting there like, all right, which one of us is going to play Notre Dame? Because Notre Dame, man. Woo! Sorry, that clap is really loud. 27-24 for the... Sorry, I was trying to do something. 27-24 victory for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, man. Penn State goes up 10-0 right away, and you're sitting there. Ends up becoming 10-3 at half, and you're just like, man. I'll admit, I was sitting there, it's like, man, can Notre Dame do it? I feel like they can. Trying to sit there, it's like, man, they did some stuff right. They were playing okay. They weren't amazing, but they had some moments. But my biggest issue, by the way, before we continue on with them playing Ohio State, is going to be their offensive and defensive line because of all those injuries. Those are just starting to get increasingly more difficult. Like the original starting tackle who got hurt at the beginning of the season, Knapp, he's been the backup. He's been playing amazing. Now he's out, and the original starting tackle who's missed basically the whole season, who's projected to be the starter, he's back in now. So they're dealing with they were shuffling all of the offensive line and everything. But man, like I said, they were down 10-0. Then you get 10-3. Then you get a Riley Leonard touchdown. Then you get a Jeremiah Love touchdown. Oh my gosh, was that Jeremiah Love touchdown amazing? Then you get a Nick Singleton touchdown, 2 in a row. Then you get a Riley Leonard. Amazing touchdown to Great House as well. So at this point, the game's tied at 4:36 left. These teams have been going back and forth all game, basically. And then when Notre Dame gets a chance to drive it down with 12 seconds left, they win the game. Riley Leonard, 15 for 23, 223, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Those 2 interceptions were pretty bad. But overall, man, this was just an awesome game from both these teams. Like, I mean, this is one of those games where it's like, man, whoever loses is really going to hate that they have to lose this. And Notre Dame, they had some truly great highlights. I mean, Jeremiah Love, man, one of the hardest touchdown runs I've seen all year. I mean, he 1 body, 2 bodies, 3 bodies, maybe even a 4th, 5th, 6th body, runs through all of them, reaches, what a run! Shout out, I believe that was Tone Diggs that said that. I was watching the Pat McAfee version of the broadcast for that game, but what a run indeed. Jeremiah Love's in scoring touchdown that way. Jeremiah Love hurdles a man. I mean, this guy's disgusting, dude. Watching the fact that he's not draft eligible, and I just learned that. I definitely 100% thought he was draft eligible. Didn't even realize it wasn't a thing because they said he would be great if he. I've read something where it's like blah blah if he was draft eligible, and it's like that boy's coming back. So if he comes back for Notre Dame, that's going to be absolutely awesome. I mean, that's just defensively, Notre Dame balled out too. They played a lot of single high. Drew Aller just played horrible. For Penn State, that really sucks. This was a game where if he maybe considered going out to the NFL draft, this game for sure sealed it. Like, all right, maybe I need a little bit more college time because he just he didn't feel settled in from the beginning, and then after that, it just felt like he couldn't get settled in. He wasn't settled from the beginning, just wasn't able to find a way to get settled in. Nick Singleton basically was awesome on the ground for them, but it just felt like there were so many big throws that you want to talk about a comparison to Sam Darnold. Drew Aller had a very, very similar game where that Sam Darnold against the Lions week 18. Ditto, basically Drew Aller in this performance where it's just like, man, he has a guy wide open, sails it. Misses a throw here, just misses a throw there. And it's just like, man, you got to hit these, dude, if you want to win the game. You got to hit these. And there was probably like, as a Notre Dame fan, and I've watched enough football now, you kind of know. So like, there's a few passes. He missed that pass. I'm like, oh, that's you can't miss that. That's basically points. They just gave away their chance to get points because he missed that throw. And then, sure enough, they ended up not scoring out of it. But overall, man, I'm very, very impressed with Notre Dame. They've dealt with injuries all year. And Marcus Freeman, man, I got to give him his flowers. Dude's a baller. I was originally mad at him and Riley Leonard at the beginning of the season with the NIU loss. And ever since then, I mean, they've just week after week after week been proving it. Still bringing it. They truly, Marcus Freeman's a great coach at this point. I mean, there's no denying it. His improvement over the last 3 years is, I mean, that punt thing he did to get him to jump off sides as well, I mean, genius. This guy is a really, really good football coach, and I'm glad he's my coach now, man. It's really awesome to see the turnaround Notre Dame's had. And this was just a truly awesome changing win for them. Because now it's like, hey, we're in the national championship, 9-point dogs. Very, very excited to see how Notre Dame plays in it. But like, for Penn State, tough loss. I mean, that's just a loss that sucks. But at least you have Drew Aller coming back. I believe both running backs should be coming back as well. So, not bad. I mean, hey, you look at the stats for Penn State, man. They basically got no help from wide receiver. It's Nick Singleton, Katron Allen, Tyler Warren, and then another tight end. Nobody else really did much of anything. No help from the wide receivers at all. Really quick to go over some news. See if we Texas Isaiah Bond entering the NFL draft. Singleton Allen returning to Penn State for senior season. That's going to be nasty for them. I can't believe both those guys bringing it back. Which I guess their money actually for their senior year is probably better than their rookie contract. Didn't even think about that part. Probably very accurate. Golden declares for the 2025 NFL Draft as well. Kyron Lacey turned himself in, released on bail. This Kyron Lacey story is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with him because it's just very sad. Another young man who kind of made a dumb decision. Now his career is going to be in a lot of trouble. Banks among Texas. There's a bunch of Ewers is waiting to declare for the draft as well. A lot waiting. Knapp, we talked about, won't play in the title game because of his ankle. Big loss for them at tackle, but hopefully the backup can be okay. Yeah, that's basically all I wanted to bring up. There's a few things we missed, and then Alex Orji transferred to UNLV. Then yeah, man, basically starting next week, we're gonna take probably 3-4 week break from college football, and then we'll be right back to it. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. Thanks for the report. Really do appreciate it. Basically plans, like I said, plans for the rest of the week and a few weeks upcoming. Because I'll admit I have hernia surgery on this Friday. Your boy can't wait, man. Get this stuff fixed. I'm not. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, I've moved a lot in this chair. I end up sitting like this. I mean, it's simply all because of the hernia. I physically cannot sit in this chair without a lot of pain. I just put myself through it because I love talking football, man. And I love talking to my people. So we're pretty much planning surgery Friday. I don't know how the recording's going to look. You might get a recording of me standing up. I don't know. I'm assuming I'm going to be good to go, though. So you should look out for videos next week. Captain by a Hook should be appearing with my boy Thursday or Friday. Got some outside stuff that might change the date on that. NFL bets tomorrow. NFL breakdowns for the divisional round. We got 6 games to break down, right? I think 4 games. Math's horrible. I believe we have 4 games, actually, not 6. We had 6 this last round for each side. But yeah, 4 games to do there. So we'll talk breaks, break that down, kind of what we're leaning there. And then we'll talk national championship. Man, on Monday. So yeah, tomorrow, national championship we'll be talking about. Divisional round of playoffs we'll be talking about. I can't believe it's already that time. Like I said, after Monday, once the national championship is over, we'll probably talk a little bit of fallout that week of college football. And then until the Super Bowl, I probably won't bring up college football again unless it's massive news because pretty much we'll focus on the last little bit stretch of the NFL playoffs. And then we're in off-season mode, people, where we basically just spend the first 2-3 weeks basically like, man, what a season that was. Kind of bridging into March Madness. We'll talk a little bit more basketball. And then we're to the off-season, man. It's crazy that it's already that time. But like I said, we don't need to get too far ahead. Let's live in this moment. Let's enjoy this moment right here, right now, right here, right now. Still don't like that commercial, man. No. Tomorrow, like I said, divisional round bets, college football national championship bets, breakdowns, going over some news, anything else I missed from today. That's basically tomorrow. So I'll see everyone back in this feed tomorrow. Till then.